Hi, ladies. Today is 4/21/20, so April 21st. And we are working in our packet on page 33 today for your CGI lesson. Um, Today we're going to be focusing on the area of my backyard. So Mrs. Babb's yard is 48 feet long and 39 feet wide. What is the area of Mrs. Babb's backyard? So I'm going to read it again, and I want you to think about maybe what the formula is for finding the area of my backyard. So Mrs. Babb's yard is 48 feet long and 39 feet wide. What is the area of Mrs. Babb's backyard? So at this point, my backyard is 48 feet long. So that quantity, 48 feet long, tells us the length, and then 39 feet wide is going to tell us the width. So long would be the length, wide is going to be our width. And then our question that we are trying to answer today is going to be, what is the area of Mrs. Babb's backyard? And I really want you to focus on that word area. That part is really important. So when you're thinking about this problem, because they are not equal, we can assume that my yard is the shape of a rectangle. Okay, so I want you to think about how you could use the visual of a rectangle on your paper to help you figure out the area of my backyard. So in your planning section, make sure that that you have your visual drawn out, and I would really recommend drawing out that rectangle and kind of labeling it. And then also making sure that you have your number sentence with your variable to kind of help guide your thinking as well. And then also don't forget, you want to make sure those quantities are listed and what they represent. So at this point, I want you to make sure that you kind of have that formula written down, any important information, and then go ahead and pause the video and unpause it when. All right, ladies. So I went through and I made this whole video and did all the work, and the video decided not to work. So I am going to talk through each of the steps for this problem so that you have the information to check your work. So the first thing that we're going to start with, we're going to focus on this top portion right here. And this is going to talk about what our quantities are and what they represent. So we're going to talk about 48. So 48 represents our length. And in the problem, it said that the backyard was 48 feet long. And that word length is the same as how long something is. So in our rectangle, our visual, the length is going to represent how long it was, which is 48 feet. And then 39 is our width. And then in the problem, it said it was 39 feet wide. And our width is how wide something is. So wide and width mean the exact same thing as well. So for this problem, we're finding the area. And we know that when we're finding the area, our formula for area is going to be the length times the width. And lucky for us, they gave us the length and the width in order to find the area. So we're trying to figure out the area of the backyard. So using our formula of length times width, I've kind of come up with 3 different strategies that I feel are probably the most common that you are using. So that first strategy that we're going to talk about is going to be the standard algorithm. And the standard algorithm, you're going to be stacking both factors right on top of each other and then multiplying your top number and your bottom number together. Starting with 9 times 8, which gives us 72. 9 times 4, which is 36. Then we're going to add that 7, which gives us 43. So now we're going to go to the tens place with this 3. which means that we want to make sure the first part of our answer goes in that tens place. So we want to put a placeholder here. So you can use a 0 if you want. You can put an X, whatever it is, as your placeholder. So 3 times 8 gives us 24. We bring our 2, and then our 4 goes down below. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Then we're going to take the two answers and add them together. Over here, we have our partial products method. Partial products is when we take one number and we break it into its different place values. So 48, the 4 in 48 represents 4 tens or 40, and the 8 represents 8 ones. And then 39 is the same. The 3 represents 3 tens or 30, and then the 9 represents 9 ones. Then we're going to multiply each of those numbers together. So we have 30 times 40. We can take the 3 and the 4 and multiply those together to give us 12, and then take those two zeros and add it on to the end. Same thing here, 40 times 9, 4 times 9 is 36, add your 0. 30 times 8, 3 times 8 is 24, add your 0, and then 9 times 8 gave us 72. So then what we did is we're going to stack each of those numbers together, making sure that the place values are each lined up correctly so that you can add them together and then get your answer. You can also use different strategies to check your work. You don't necessarily have to do division to check a multiplication problem. If you feel more confident using a different multiplication strategy, that's a great way to check your work, making sure that you get the same answer. And then last, I have the lattice method. Remember with lattice, it looks similar to partial products, but you want to keep each digit the same. You don't want to break it apart into its place values. And then you just multiply. So 8 times 3 gave us 2 tens and 4 ones, or 24. 4 times 3 gave us 12, which is 1 10 and 2 ones. That top box is our tens, the bottom box is our ones. 8 times 9 is 72, or 7 tens and 2 ones. 4 times 9 is 36, 3 tens, 6 ones. Then we're going to go and we're going to add together each of these kind of horizontal columns. And you'll notice that you're adding together the same numbers that you added together up top. So you'll notice that you're taking 2 plus nothing, 4 plus 7 plus 6, which was the same that we did here, which gave us 17. Remember, you want to make sure that you carry that 1 over to the next place value, just like we did here, so that you are adding together those numbers. And then moving along, you have 1 here. So your answer is actually listed right here along the bottom, but you want to make sure when you do lattice that you are rewriting your answer because it's a little bit hard to see. So another thing that's really important is our unit. So our answer was 1,872, and because we're talking about area, our answer is actually going to be in square feet. So you can write that two different ways. You can write it out square feet, or you can write feet with that little 2 up at the top, the exponent 2, which stands for squared. So then when we're moving on to our equation, you have 48 times 39, because that is what we're doing in order to solve this problem, which gave us an answer of 1,872. If we wanted to check this answer with division, we could take 1,872 and divide it by either one of these numbers. I'll do 48, which means we want to try and get 39 as our answer. So 48 can't go into 1, it can't go into 18, but we can assume it probably goes into 187 3 times. The right way to do that is to check. And I'm going to do 48 times 3, which is 24, 12, 13, 14, which gives us 144. And if I go any higher than that, it's going to be way too much. So I'm going to do 144, and then subtract. 7 minus 4 gives me 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then we're going to bring down our 2. And we can assume that 48 goes into 9, goes into 432 9 times. We'll check it. We have 72, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. and we are correct. So this will be another way to check your work. If you didn't want to do several different strategies for multiplication and you wanted to try a division strategy. So I'm sorry that I wasn't able to write it all out in front of you. My computer kind of malfunctioned, and when I was doing it for you in live time, it didn't want to record correctly. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I feel like we're old pros at multiplying multi-digit numbers, especially when we're finding area. So if there were any minor mistakes, I would assume those are going to be those quick, just fixable little mistakes. Maybe we had just a slight error when multiplying two basic facts. But feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and rewind if you need to kind of look through and talk through maybe something that you have on your paper.